Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Real Football Talk. We'll be doing a short little video on the United last two games and look into how Brighton it affected Brighton in terms of coming into their game against United after seeing what Southampton did. Adi, should we start with the Southampton United game and see what Southampton did really well to kind of nullify United?
Yes, as you can see, Southampton set up in the famous original Ragnick formation, which was the 4-2-2, inside wingers and two strikers. 4-2-2-2.
Number 10, yeah.
In this 4-2-3-1. And so what happens is, as you can see, what this formation does is it gives a lot of makes it possible for Southampton to quite easily pass between the lines of the defensive midfielders, because they can't press the two deep line midfielders because they've got two guys outside of them. And so what that does is that gives easy passing channels for Salisu, Peru to play in, and it also then gives a dilemma to Dalot and Shaw, because they're used to having traditional wingers that they have to pick up, and now Elyounoussi and Stuart Armstrong are playing in a strange formation. So now that asks them to kind of, do we come infield a bit, and then what happens is, if they do, as we saw, that exposes the lack of form Maguire has, and Broja was able to dominate that individual battle.
Even Che Adams went a lot of the time in between the gap left behind by Dalot as well.
Running down the channel a lot.
Exactly.
So what Southampton done really well was expose the gaps in United formation, and that's the whole point of this 4-2-2-2 system is to really create spaces down the channels for the striker, and also counteract the opposition press, because the way they would have set up, if it was a traditional 4-4-2 system, what would happen was these two would press happily, not worrying about anything here, and then leave that as a battle. Or McTominay most likely would sit, and Fernandes would look to press the two midfielders. Now what's happened is, because of the position of Elyounoussi and Armstrong, now that caused a problem for Pogba and McTominay to press.
They got a call to make.
Effectively, what that did was that gave Southampton the template to be or to cause so many problems, especially in the first half, to dominate. Especially in the second half, to dominate United when they didn't have the intensity, because as soon as you sit off, as we saw for the goal, you got Fernandes pressing, and you got Rashford picking up Salisu, and you got Ronaldo basically coasting, and effectively one pass out wide defeats everyone.
Yeah, because he leaves so much space, doesn't it? Yeah.
And then what happens is, if you look at the problem United had, is with that one pass, what happens is, and Romeo was kind of occupying it. So what happens is Peru plays it into Ward. Now Pogba's going to challenge there. Now Dalot goes there. Suddenly Adams going there. That's forced. Exact set moves all the time. The whole idea of this formation is to create space down the sides or get it into the two chans. So now it's a McTominay is stuck, and what that does is force everyone in, and because Shaw isn't comfortable to pick up, he goes and tucks in. And now the system has become like this, and and why is he tucking in? It's because of the good work Broja has done the whole game in dominating Maguire. So now Shaw feels like he needs to protect his captain because
Maguire.
man for man is getting the better of him. So he's tucking in, and that's forcing McTominay to think twice about going in tight and Yunus because he's worried about the late run of Armstrong. So what happens is obviously as the play comes in, the Peru then plays the ball into El Yunusi. McTominay sticks. Armstrong makes the run, and suddenly now Shaw isn't sure what to do, and Varane panics because he's now facing the wrong way. So he panics, goes out, and all of a sudden it's an easy run in.
All in, yeah.
All in, and obviously the danger wasn't seen because and what Broja did really good. He's pinning. He's getting physical with Maguire. So Maguire at no point recognizes that, okay, I need to come across, and Shaw can come across and force Adams to either, take a shot at the near post or cut in and play across to Armstrong, who's the only free man, but force the extra pass or the extra decision making. So ultimately, that was great play. That's a system working, and what United did.
But do you think this kind of influenced Brighton in terms of how they went into the game?
It definitely affected Brighton because if you look at the setup now, last game against Watford played 4-4-2. Just ignore, obviously, Lamptey started and Lallana started and Welbeck started instead of Trossard, McAllister and Bissouma. But if you look at, they played a 3-4-1-2 system against Watford. For this game, they changed it all to... So they went to a flat four. They take Lamptey, who was arguably the best player last game.
Yeah, that was surprising, not including him.
They go to a flat four and they go to the 4-2-2-2 system. With obviously the idea is to expose United in the same way as the last game. Now, what was interesting was that obviously United have done some work. Obviously, we heard what Ragnick has said about being more compact in those key moments, because reality is the Southampton goal is all comes down to the fact that for some reason Fernandes decided to press, and the other three were engaged in pressing, and they were out of position and they weren't compact or dropping back. So one of the biggest things you notice about United in this game in the first half was they all dropped back and they were all very, very narrow. They were all very narrow. Everyone dropped back. So they weren't really doing a high press. And the only time they did a high press was this is kind of unique in the sense that I haven't seen, like, it also exposes the fact that there's a problem with the philosophy here is there isn't really a pressing system at United at the moment. So what was happening was they were pressing according to the player, depending on which player it is. So what you'd have is, so if Brighton were playing it around the back and suddenly Elanga decided to go, then pressing would happen.
Okay.
And Sancho would engage, and still Fernandes and Ronaldo wouldn't really engage. But Fernandes, if it's in front of him, he'll press. So depending on the player. And the only other time they press is if Fred decided to go. Now, if you watch the game back, you'll be surprised to see Fred pressing the centre backs and the deep line midfielders more than even Fernandes and Ronaldo at times. So many times the press is actually being led by Fred. And then Elanga and Sancho and basically Ronaldo, Fernandes and McTominay are just sitting in. So it's a strange system. It depends on the personnel who is going to do the press. But the amount of times Fred was the furthest player pressing the centre backs, it was strange to see and in the first half, that's what caused a lot of the problems, was because already the formation is splitting.
Yeah.
Splitting the two central midfielders. But you got one coming forward because he has to lead the press because Ronaldo doesn't really do it. Fernandes doesn't want to do it. So then what happened? Fred was putting the pressure on, and then Elanga and Sanchez would engage. So the few counterattacks they got was because of pressing through that system. Now that gave Brighton dominance in the first half, but they couldn't create clear-cut chances. Why? Because United had learned their lessons from the Southampton game. They were so narrow that the opportunities weren't there, and a lot of the times you saw Trossard trying to go out wide, but that gap, because Dalla wasn't leaving it, he ended up actually going all the way down the left wing.
Yeah.
There's no space really to disrupt Lindelof, and Lindelof had a good game, because what happened was then it makes everything easier, because now all the players in front of you, and plenty of times Lindelof was able to win the personal battle and get his foot in on that on any balls played to feet. So that's how United counteracted it. What did they do in the second half? What made them kind of get better and get the goals was then United completely went man for man, and they stuck because of the higher press. What happened was McAllister lost his shape. So what happens is United second half decide to press now. So what we've noticed is United only have one energetic half, intense half, and the last few games they've had a good first half, fallen away second half.
Poor second half,
The script, they've done a slow first half, and now they're really going for it. So then what happened was Dalot and Shaw are going in tight. McTominay and Fred are going in tight. And basically what they've effectively said is this ain't Broja and Adam, they ain't got strength and pace on us. Let's go man for man.
Yeah.
They like the ball to feet, and we've generally got the pace on them. So they committed to, and what that did was that forced Brighton into going into a diamond, which made the pressing even more easier.
Yeah, because it's just in one zone, isn't it? Yeah.
So they were able to commit, and what that did was that allowed, as we saw for the penalty,
leads to the mistake. Yeah.
For the red card, and that allowed Elanga to leave Cucurella, because now Dalla is still committed to pressing high up the pitch. So he is now pressuring both. He's ready for Cucurella or McAllister. He's ready to press both. So now you're getting the ball high up the pitch. If you even see for the first goal, Bissouma gets caught out by McTominay, and Ronaldo scores.
Great play by Ronaldo, yeah.
So are this United team progressing? Are they learning? Yes, they are. They're learning on the job. They're making slight adjustments. Teams are also adjusting to expose the weaknesses of this United team. At the moment, they have one half of intensity, and they have to put all their eggs into that basket in that half, and then find a way of being compact and narrow, which is what we saw in the game.
I mean, great result for them against Brentford. Adil, thank you for your input. And guys, keep an eye out. We've got more tactical videos coming out soon. Thank you for watching.